right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Monday, June 20th. This is episode 135 of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Briefing. I'm your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next 30 minutes or so, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news stories of the day and providing expert analysis on each of those stories on what it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break in the industry, we got you covered. Let me bump up some ambiance music there. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor. Let me pull up my guys. It's a Monday. Not operating on all, not operating on all cylinders right now. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor, the one and only Barricade Cyber Solutions. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. I want to remind you, if you have certifications that require CPEs, each episode of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Briefing is worth half a CPE. So it stacks up 2.5 a week, 10 a month. Be sure to document literally the easiest and I would argue the most enjoyable way to get CPEs. Just say what's up in chat and make sure that there's a traceable line between your comment and you as an individual. I.e., if you're using a pseudonym, just be able to defend that is your, online handle, if you will. Also, I don't say this all the time, but it's worth noting. Don't go in and document each half a CPE, right? Like the certification bodies will probably want you to do that, but I've done this for years. You can just say like 10 CPEs, Simply Cyber's Daily Cybersecurity Threat Briefing, June 2022. Right? If you went to 20 first daily cyber threat briefings, you know what I mean? Like I do that with conferences too. So like if I go to a conference or if I take a college course, I'll put a CPE for like 35 credits and then I'll just put the course instead of granularly breaking it down into each talk you went to. Nobody's got time for that. Okay. If you are live, love it. I see 52 of you in here just on the Simply Cyber YouTube channel. Many more of you coming from LinkedIn and other folks. Streams like ThreatGen and Josh Mason. So appreciate that. If you are on hashtag Team Replay, drop that in chat. I've seen that is kind of taken over as the way that people who watch on replay kind of connect with each other. So hashtag Team Replay. If you're catching it on replay, if you are watching on replay, you get the benefit of scrubbing to the right and not having to deal with all this introduction stuff and pleasantries at the beginning, but I enjoy doing it. And it is Monday, so let's have a sip of coffee. If you want to jump right to the news when the screen changes to the CISO series.com news, that's when we'll begin. But for the next, I don't know, say 90 seconds or so, I'd love to welcome everybody into chat and say good morning to you. So good morning. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Good afternoon, if that's where you are, or good evening, if that's where you are. Happy to see you. I hope you all had an opportunity to relax if you were in the United States. Father's Day was this weekend. So, it doesn't have to be the traditional father. If somebody was a mentor to you, if somebody provided that guidance in a fatherly way, perhaps someone dual tasks and is a mother and a father, shout out and much love. I hope you had a wonderful day connecting with those that you care for. I got nominated for a TED Talk. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, Navi, Asha, Genshan. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Osama. Good to see you. Hey, Shane Andrews on LinkedIn. It's nice to see you. Guys, I'm going to do a video on if you're a truck driver and you want to transition into cybersecurity. It seems that I'm getting an unusual amount of people who are professional tractor trailer drivers, long hauls, want to get into cyber. So I've decided I'll do a video on that. And I appreciate the community for helping me connect with individuals who meet that criteria so I can get firsthand understanding. Hey, Doris, good to see you. Hey, David Meese, I hope your recovery is going well and your body is feeling good. All right. So coffee's good. Let's get into the news of the day. Well, thank you, Joel Belton. I appreciate that. All right, guys, let's dig in and see what happens. This is how much of the French press I've already done. Okay, so I think the juices are properly charged. Let me get my sound effects queued up just in case something comes out that gets me all amped up and I need to be able to They're kind of spicy. All right. All right, let's get in. If you want to follow along, go to cisoseries.com. David Spark and his group actually does a fantastic job of putting this together. And just as an FYI, we will be listening to the 30-second promo ad in the middle of the podcast. David reached out to me and asked if I would do that in exchange for continuing to piggyback on top of his podcast every single weekday morning. So we're going to do that, okay? All right, let's get into the news. Sit back, relax, and let's get our briefing on.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Monday, June 20th, 2022. U.S. Department of Justice announces shutdown of Russian RSOC's Botnet. An international police operation that involved law enforcement partners from Germany, the Netherlands, and the UK shut down the RSOC's Botnet, which was comprised of millions of compromised computers and other electronic devices from around the world. This included industrial control systems, time clocks, routers, audio-video streaming devices, and smart garage door openers. It had also expanded into compromising additional types of devices, including Android devices and conventional computers. The operators behind the RSOC's botnet had offered their clients access to IP addresses assigned to compromised devices to route their own internet traffic.
Okay, so that's interesting. Obviously, whenever the DOJ does something, they have this big Department of Justice news brief or news release that they do. Russian bot disrupted. Okay, so a couple things here. One, I'll point out that I hadn't heard of RSOCs before, but I continue to love any type of international coordination of law enforcement on these takedowns. I'll say it again. Every time those news stories pop, I love it. It just, to me, it's going to take an international coalition in order to bring these things down, because cyber threat actors and cyber crime does not recognize national boundaries and physical parameters, right? Like cyber criminals don't care if they hit a Romanian target or if they hit a Ghana target or a Mexican target. They don't care. They just want to make it. So because of that dilution of attack surface, if you will, it's going to require this. Now, two things that I'll point out. One, they released, they disrupted this botnet, but a lot of times the DOJ will release indictments for the people behind the operation or the cyber criminal enterprise. A lot of times the DOJ does not get them. So I'm not saying it's posturing, right? It is all part of the workflow, but like a lot of times they'll issue indictments for, these North Korean actors, these Chinese actors, these Russian actors, and there's no jurisdiction. So the DOJ can't get them unless they enter a geographical boundary that is allied with the United States in order to do extradition. There's a really good, I don't know if it's online, but I went to Black Hat a few years, like 2015 or 14. And there was like a wicked good talk by the FBI on this Romanian credit card guy. He was like the kingpin of credit card stealing, and he was from Romania. And they had this. The whole talk was about the case, about how they got him. But he went to the Maldives or something for like a weekend getaway, and like they were waiting at the airport because they had intel that he was going to be there. And I guess we have relationships with the Maldives, or it was like some exotic island country thing that he went to for a week, and now he's in jail. So the second thing I'll point out is this is just a great example. If you're looking to demonstrate an example of why IoT devices and smart garage doors and all these things that get IP addresses can be weaponized, this is a great example, because this RSOC's botnet was taking advantage of everything and anything that had an IP address in order to build the botnet. Now, you can weaponize a botnet for distributed denial of service attacks. You can weaponize a botnet for, I guess lateral. Well, you wouldn't do the botnet per se, but if you had nodes in a botnet, you might be able to compromise, take the compromised node and move laterally through an environment and push malware and stuff like that. In the story, they said that they're using the botnet to pass traffic, which is weird because it's essentially like you're saying you would VPN or proxy through like a smart garage door out to the internet in order to hide your IP. But you could just use a VPN for that. So I don't know why you would go through all the trouble of going through a compromised botnet host in order to hide your traffic. I mean, that's like something you would see in like a Hollywood movie. Like it's silly. Like why would you do that? You'd be limiting yourself to the pipe of whatever that NIC is, that the network interface card on that IoT device. So to me, I think that might be not 100% right, but that's just my thoughts on that.
Experts warn of a new Echo Ray ransomware campaign targeting QNAP NAS. The ransomware, tracked as QNAP Crypt and Echo Ray ECH0RAIX, is written in the Go programming language and uses AES encryption to encrypt files. The malicious code appends .encrypt extension to file names of encrypted files and has been active since at least 2019. We reported on the last wave of attacks back in December 2021. Further back, in May 2021, QNAP had warned customers of threat actors that are targeting its NAS devices with Echo Ray ransomware attacks and exploiting a room server zero-day vulnerability on devices using weak passwords. Experts are now reporting a surge in Echo Ray infections in industry forums.
Okay, guys, like I said, I need a sound effect for QNAP. If you have QNAP, I don't even want to spend time on this one. If you have QNAP devices that are in your environment, like you own them, or you did a vulnerability scan and you discovered them, or you have friends and family that use them, whatever. These QNAP things are in the news all the time. Make sure that they're patched fully, because they release security patches like every day for these things. Two, if it doesn't need to be internet facing, don't make it internet facing. I don't know if they have like UPnP type auto configurations where it's pushed to the internet by default, but it sounds like that is the case. Do that. And then third and most important, this is probably the most important thing you could, patching's important, but change the password. Apparently in this story, they're saying that they're able to go through with either crappy passwords or default passwords, which I still find disgusting that vendors allow you to have default passwords. A lot of the new vendors or a lot of new tech is saying when you configure it, it requires you to change the admin password like on boot. That should be a default standard, by the way. But anyways, change your password, patch your QNAP devices, because you could have a great password, and if the thing can be exploited through a vulnerability, the password doesn't matter. And if you patch the thing but you have a crap password, someone's just going to log into it, right? So these are the two main things that you should do that. But just if someone has QNAP, like do like a public service and hold their hand and take them to the website and be like, we've got to get this thing fixed, because QNAP is literally in the news all the time for being compromised. And now they're getting ransomware. And by the way, these are network attached storage devices. So you think, okay, so maybe it's like a small business and like they run their business off of it. But also, guys, a lot of people take tons and tons of pictures now. Like we have phone cameras on us all the time. If someone had all of their children photos ransomware and encrypted, they'd be broke. It'd be devastating, right? So just to protect someone from like a crappy situation, definitely educate them on this.
Experts announce mixed results for Russia's aggressive Ukraine information war. A top Ukrainian cybersecurity official said this week that the Russian campaign to wrest control over internet and phone networks in occupied Ukraine continues to grow, even as Russian forces intensify their shelling of the telecommunications infrastructure. A former senior leader of U.S. Cyber Command said the Russians are narrowing Ukraine's cyberspace and physical terrain simultaneously. It is also replacing many media outlets with branches of Russian state media. But Russian information war objectives have been thwarted to a large degree by international private sector enterprises like the Starlink satellite internet constellation, and by the fact that many Ukrainians have virtual private networks.
Wow. Okay, so this is actually very cool. Okay, so without getting into like way too much about political influence and geopolitical population control and stuff like that, this is a really interesting story, okay? Because of the way that things have always happened in the past and now how they're happening today, because of the advance of technology and the empowerment of the individual citizen to be able to get access to information. So essentially what they're saying here is that as part of Russia's kind of attack on Ukraine or their occupation of Ukraine, whatever you want to say, they are narrowing both the physical space, right, through military occupation, but also the information cyberspace. So they're limiting the network connections ish, and then kind of routing them through things that they control. They are replacing media outlets with their own, Russia Today or whatever you want to call it, media outlets. Basically, this helps shape the message and define what social norms are as far as information that people are getting. But because of Starlink, which is essentially an out of band network communication medium, the Russian government cannot control that pipe essentially, so they can't do anything about that. And then with VPNs, even if they are trying to control at the network layer, at the IP layer, the VPNs allow bypassing essentially, or make it difficult for Russia to be able to control what is getting blocked and what is getting allowed. So they're able to pop out and then get that additional data. So essentially, from a business continuity perspective, if you really wanted to think about it, this is actually a perfect case study in business continuity. They have an out-of-band telecommunication medium across the whole stack, so they can get what they need in order to continue business operations, which would be resistance from the Ukraine perspective. So very, very fascinating. From an information warfare perspective, this is, and I'm not a military historian or expert in any way, but this is like textbook. They're going in with military force, kind of doing military campaigns, like taking over critical targets of value, and then also doing population control effectively through media control and information control, and information shaping. Even the fact that it's like illegal in the country of Russia to say the word war. That's my understanding, according to a law that was passed a little while ago. If you don't call it anything other than like a special military operation, you can be put in jail. So it's just an interesting case study in information warfare. Another thing that they said that is really interesting, and I had a conversation with someone over the weekend about this. Like, I'm surprised that there has been not as much cyber related activity in this conflict. I honestly thought that World War III or the next major geopolitical conflict would have massive amounts of cyber, um, operations and technical stuff. And maybe it's happening under the radar, espionage style, but it's been significantly more kinetic than it has been cyber for this particular conflict. But it is interesting that they said that Russia continues to attack at the same pace, cyber and kinetic. They said that in the story. Whether or not that's 100% true, it remains to be seen. So, all right, let's keep rolling.
Matten Bucas infects devices with Cobalt strike. A new malicious spam campaign is delivering the Matten Bucas malware to drop Cobalt strike beacons on compromised machines. Matten Bucas, spelt MATANBUCHUS, is a malware as a service project first spotted in February 2021 in advertisements on the dark web, promoting it as a $2,500 loader that launches executables directly into system memory. Palo Alto Networks Unit 42 analyzed it in June 2021 and mapped extensive parts of its operational infrastructure. The malware's features include launching custom PowerShell commands, leveraging standalone executables to load DLL payloads, and establishing persistence via the addition of task schedules.
All right, so before we listen to the promo for CISOseries.com, I want to point out a couple things here. So one, first of all, if you guys don't know, Unit 42 is Palo Alto's like threat analysis group. They do awesome work. So if you're looking to get a little bit more information and understand, kind of like what we're doing here in the morning threat briefings, definitely Google Palo Alto Unit 42. I've talked to a couple of people over there. I think one of them is actually in the DSU PhD program. But anyways, the point is they do really good work, and it's worth your time to engage and see what they're up to over there. Now, about this phishing attack infects devices with Cobalt strike. Okay, so first of all, what are we going to do? We got to educate our end users about phishing. This is just another payload being delivered via phishing. Guys, I know it's kind of like blocking and tackling and routine, but phishing is a primary attack vector. Like, it's like, I'm not even being hyperbolic. Like, I would argue like 70, 80% of attacks start with some type of phishing, because it's easy to get phishes in front of people, and Carl clicks on phishes, right? So educate your end users about phishing. Also tune your mail gateway. If you don't have a secure mail gateway like a Proofpoint, Exchange Online Protection, Mimecast, any of those, seriously consider it for business, right? Like, it's hard to pay for something like that as an individual, but if you have like Google Mail or something like that, some of the bigger services will provide that already. So definitely configure that. So then you're stopping the emails from coming in, and the ones that do get through, you can educate your end users. This is basically just another version of malware that drops Cobalt Strike Beacon. A couple of things that I want to point out. One, it says that's it launches it directly into system memory via PowerShell. If you have a halfway decent endpoint detection and response solution in your environment, EDR, like Carbon Black, SentinelOne, Microsoft Defender, these kind of enterprise solutions, it should detect basically like a PowerShell launching something directly into memory, right? Like it should see that, but you may want to test that, verify the efficacy of your EDR solutions to be able to do that. It's one thing to check the box and say you have EDR. It's another to confirm that it actually will catch this. Because it is malware as a service and it launches into memory, I suspect that if you reboot, it would wipe it out, which is fine. But the problem is the first thing it does is install Cobalt Strike, which is going to reach out to a C2 server and tell the threat actors that your machine has been compromised, and then they can come in over it. Final thing I'll say about that, every time beacons happen, I mention it. RITA, R-I-T-A, the tool from Black Hills Information Security, is fantastic for detecting beacons, beaconing. If you don't have RITA, that's fine. Just like to find beacons, and this is like a good answer in a in a SOC analyst interview. Like, how might you detect malware of a compromised host? How might you do that? Like a compromised host, like let's say my laptop right now is compromised, right? I fell for a phish and now I've got Cobalt Strike beaconing out. It's going to beacon with a very consistent cadence every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, whatever it is, whatever the bad guy has configured it for, but it will be consistent and it will look like a machine doing it, not a human. Humans are erratic. So look for that kind of consistent beaconing, and that's an indication of compromise, right? You can use that in an interview. All right, let's listen to this promo together.
Thanks to today's episode sponsor, Optiv. Modernizing your identity control plane from AD to the cloud is complex. Ralph Martino, who is leading the Identity and Access Management IAM group for Optiv, discusses what challenges CISOs are facing in today's ever-changing climate. These include increasing security, decreasing risk, and lowering cost. You can learn more at optiv.com/IAM-Microsoft. That's optiv.com/IAM-Microsoft.
Okay, so that was the promo for CISO series, but let me tell you guys. So over the last week, we raffled off all that coffee. And by the way, if you won coffee and you did not connect with me or Paul Cummings, do so on DMs on Discord, and we'll get you the coffee. Barricade Cyber Solutions, Eric Taylor, fantastic group over there. They were motivated and inspired by the coffee giveaway that they wanted to give away vouchers to the GRC Analyst Master Class. Now, I know many of you in chat are familiar with the GRC Analyst Master Class. It is the course that is that I made that covers risk assessment, audit. You can see here, there's Miss Jax. It covers audit, it covers security awareness, a primer, how to get a job as a GRC analyst, all the things, right? So Barricade Cyber Solutions purchased 20 vouchers. Thank you, Eric and Barricade Cyber Solutions, for the support. They purchased 20 vouchers, and we're going to be raffling off 4 every day this week. So 4 today, 4 tomorrow, all the way for 20 for the week. So if you would like to enter the GRC Analyst Masterclass raffle, if you've already taken the course, but you want to give it away as a gift to someone, you can enter. But just be mindful, if you want to enter, go ahead and drop the word risk, R-I-S-K. Drop the word risk in chat, and you'll enter into the contest, and I will draw 4 winners at the end of the show. So thanks to Barricade Cyber Solutions for sponsoring the raffle. One other thing I just want to remind everybody, since I've been pushing this, if you are on Instagram and you are into cybersecurity and you like my mug, consider following Gerald Auger Simply Cyber on Instagram. We're posting content there pretty much every single day. A couple times I'll do behind the scenes stuff. So I'll drop that in chat. It'll probably get stuck in the stream of everybody entering the raffle, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, so special thanks. We'll draw that at the end. Let's continue on.
Chrome browser extension lets you remove specific sites from search results. The uBlacklist browser extension lets you clean up search results by removing specific sites when searching on Google, DuckDuckGo, Bing, and other search engines. While not new, it's a year old, but it has started to pick up extra traction recently. Users can enter specific domain names with asterisks to represent variables, or they can use its built-in block this site option. It is available for Chrome and Firefox, and the source is available on a GitHub page.
All right. So this is more of a privacy story, but whatever. I mean, there's a Chrome browser that allows you to essentially filter results from Google. This is a fine service, and I get it, but at the same time, like, unless there is a complete domain, like I hate this domain, or this domain is always like a bunch of pop-ups and spam, I'm not going to go through the trouble of configuring a blacklist or a, I don't even know if that's the right term anymore, but configuring a list of sites that are not going to be resolved for me or show up in my results. It seems like it's way too much manual effort to keep. I'd rather just scroll past the Google results, but whatever. I'm glad, whatever. People are doing this. Extensions are a thing. I'd be curious, what are people's thoughts? Like, I run a couple browser extensions, but some people think that browser extensions increase your attack surface, which is true, because every piece of code you add to your browser introduces potential risk, because you're not the one writing the code for those browser extensions. So if the browser extension source code gets compromised, if there's a vulnerability, et cetera, you could be introducing risk to yourself. So I'd be curious what people think if they run no extensions, or if they're very deliberate about keeping it clean. Kind of curious.
Android wiping Barata malware is evolving into a persistent threat. The threat actor behind the Barata banking Trojan, that's BRATA, has evolved their tactics and improved the malware with information stealing capabilities. Italian mobile security company Cleafy, CLEAFY, has been tracking Barata actively and has stated that changes to recent campaigns have led to an advanced persistent threat activity pattern. The malware has also been updated with new phishing techniques, new classes to request additional permissions on the device, and now also drops a second stage payload from the command and control server.
All right. So no big deal on this one, guys. Basically, it's an Android. It says Android wiping malware. So, but then they also said banking Trojan. So I don't know what this thing does, but long story short, Android wiping malware would basically be it bricks your device, which is total D-head move by anyone. It's basically a crude denial of service attack. But if it is a banking malware, which we see a ton of in the Android space, it's going to steal your bank account, username and password. And if you have multi-factor authentication, maybe it'll steal that. But I feel like chances are most banking malware just steals your username and password and then tries to log in, or it'll put a pop-up and have you remote in. And then once you're in, they'll try to either take your session or your cookies or something like that. The fact that this thing is increasing does not surprise me. I would imagine one of two things have happened. Either A, the threat actors have realized that they can make more money than just stealing banking credentials by introducing, key logging, screen capping, probably selling access to the devices, growing it as a botnet. There's a million different things you can do. Like, once you compromise the device, like, you've already committed the crime. Why not go ham on it? And by the way, I've been working the word ham into like as many things as I possibly can. So anyways, I mean, if you're already going to compromise the device, go ham on it and get as much as you can, including a second stage payload, which I would argue is what they're qualifying it as, turning into an advanced persistent threat. When you start stacking like basically you compromise it and then you're pulling down a second stage payload. You have a persistence mechanism. Like those are the signs and indications of a more advanced persistent threat. I would not say that having a persistence mechanism on a system means that your attacker has turned into an advanced persistent threat. Like the term advanced really means more about sophistication on capability and objectives on target. Of course, that's something that we could all debate, right? What it like there's no definition as far as I know of what advanced persistent threat means, or I shouldn't say definition. There's no criteria that like this is an advanced persistent threat and this is not. Typically, we attribute advanced persistent threats to nation state threat level actors like North Korea's, 3 different groups that have specific missions, like Lazarus Group is financially motivated, or APT 41, or like all these different ones. But you don't have to be a nation state threat level actor to be an advanced persistent threat. I would argue that Wizard Spider is an advanced persistent threat. They're about as advanced as you can get, man. All right, here we go.
Crypto party is over, says the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal has announced the end of the crypto era, kind of. It compared crypto to, quote, a combination of Beanie Babies, .com stocks, and the Velvet Underground, in that it is manic, it is money, and all the cool people are into it, end quote. But the journal also points out it has shared characteristics with other bubbles throughout history, marked by speculation bordering on delusion, disregard and disrespect for risk, and greed. Its current crash is blamed on inflationary fears, with investors dumping risky portfolios for safer harbors. And one of the most significant developments, the article says, was the collapse of the stablecoin Terra USD, which was meant to hold a steady $1 value, and didn't. The article's headline says the crypto party is over, but perhaps hedging its own bets. It does not say that explicitly about crypto itself.
Okay, so I had a power surge issue. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the lights all changed here. So I'm gonna have to mix it up a little bit. Let's see. Does this work? No, no. Oh yeah. Hold on. All right, hold on. Can I do this? Does this work? Kind of mysterious. All right, guys. So here's the deal. The Wall Street Journal or whoever it is officially announces that the crypto party's over. Here's the deal. What is this? Yeah, crypto.com has spent so much money. Okay, so real quick, I don't know if you guys have caught this, but like over the last 5 days, 7 days, the like the economy is like going full bear mode. It is like things are not good, okay? And the crypto market is collapsing onto itself. And it's really like the snake eating its tail. And guys, I know that this isn't super cybersecurity, but I did spend a good deal of time kind of learning about this space because there's so many scams and stuff going on. Basically, it's like a snake eating its tail. In order to promote a stable ecosystem, right? These platforms are buying liquidity of their own product, but because they're doing that, they're seeing like a sell essentially, because they're selling the liquidity. So people are freaking out and selling their stuff, which lowers the value. So in order to bolster the value, the company or the platform buys more, and it's like this nasty, vicious cycle, which is causing all of it to go down. This is not financial advice, anything. I mean, I really think that like Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only two that have merit that could persist into like the future. But all these stable coins, all these, one-off coins and stuff like that, they're proving to be very volatile and unreliable. And the fact that it was called stable coin, the idea was that it was going to be pegged to a actual real currency like the US dollar. To see, like, for an example, like Terra, if you look at Terra or Luna or Celsius, like all these coins were supposed to be pegged so they could not fluctuate, right? That was like the whole deal. Well, the problem is they are fluctuating. They did depeg. They're going down, and to add insult to injury, a lot of the platforms are putting a hold on individuals being able to withdraw their money from the platform. I saw that this weekend. So anyways, it's a hot mess on fire. No surprise. a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. I've heard some horrible stories of people taking out reverse mortgages, home equity line of credits, cashing out their 401k because they're going to, YOLO on some Bitcoin or on some, stable coins, and they are basically lost all of their money. It's disgusting, unfortunately. So all that is to say, the idea of the crypto party is over. I disagree with that. I know, dude, the dream, the sale of crypto is that you can get rich quick. It's basically like a 21st century kind of gold rush, except there's, there's not real gold in the hills. It's like this vaporware. So as long as that's out there, people are going to want to try to strike it rich and improve their situation in one swift stroke. So I would not say the crypto party is over. I would just say it's completely suppressed. But the fact that the crypto party blew up as well as it did, and the fact that crypto.com is paying like Matt Damon to say fortune favors the brave, to kind of incentivize you to just throw your money into a fire pit. It's not over. It's just, I would argue that the crypto party is dormant. The crypto party went to get more beers. That's what the crypto party did.
And now, the week in ransomware. Last week saw a new extortion tactic introduced by the Alpha V gang, also known as Black Cat, who created a searchable clear web site that contained the stolen data for employees and hotel guests for a particular victim. Using this website, employees of the company could search for their names to see if their data was stolen, including social security numbers, phone numbers, and everything else. We also saw last week that Avos Locker and Sabre 2021 are using recent Atlassian Confluence exploits to gain initial access to corporate networks, and that Hello XD ransomware is dropping a micro backdoor on devices while encrypting. Last week also saw Ransom House extorting Africa's largest supermarket chain, ShopRite, and a California school district was forced to pay $400,000 in ransom to Quantum. Just a reminder that this week there will be
All right, so ransomware is going to ransomware. We covered a lot of these last week in the stream, in the daily cyber threat briefing. But basically, Alpha Cat or Black Cat, they keep changing their name. They have essentially a convenience lookup site where you can see if your data is in there, to help kind of motivate and incentivize the victims from paying. It sounds like a school got ransomware for $400K, which totally sucks. Public schools and like state, local government type stuff, they don't have a lot of money, dude. So 400 grand is, that can be sizable, and really, like kids don't get textbooks this year. Like, it sucks. It sucks. It is interesting to kind of monitor how ransomware threat actors are evolving, right? This space is definitely evolving really quickly. I will point out really quick, if you have any interest in ransomware, if you want to learn more, last week, hold on one second.
This is a real B&H customer.
Last week, Eric Taylor came on Simply Cyber Live. He lives and breathes ransomware, and we spent an hour together talking about a day in the life of ransomware and being an incident responder to ransomware. The puppy's fine. The puppy's fine. My kids are in the other room, and the puppies want to get out to see my kids. They're fine. So if you're interested in what a day in the life of ransomware is like, dealing with it from an incident response and victim perspective, check out this feed. This isn't Ripley. Get him. This is an awesome interview. Tons of takeaways. I'm actually going to carve it up a little bit and make Instagram snackable content of Eric's responses to certain questions. So definitely check that out. I want to remind you this Thursday. There we go. Jesus, is that too loud for everybody? That sounded loud to me. Okay, thanks for the squad membership. Guys, if you want to learn about zero trust architecture from the person who advises like federal elected officials, congressmen, senators, working groups, National Institute of Standards and Technology, come join us at 4:30 on Thursday for Dr. Chase Cunningham, aka Dr. Zero Trust. He's a really cool guy. He's a veteran. I've worked with him a little bit. He actually guest lectured at the Citadel last semester for one of my classes. He's also an expert in cyber warfare and information warfare. So it'll be an excellent conversation. It'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you can join us at 4:30 on Thursday. But obviously tomorrow at 8 a.m., we will be doing our cybersecurity threat briefing. So audio's fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Anyways, guys, we had some issues. Lights went out, but we kept it, kind of cool. Not bad for Monday morning at 8:40 in the morning, getting some club action. But all right, everybody, be good. Thanks so much. This has been episode 135, June 20th of the daily cyber threat briefing. If you got value out of it, definitely hit the like button. But more importantly, share it with your network. I believe honestly that this is a wonderful opportunity for people to connect, engage, feel included, get educated on cybersecurity, and just be informed on what's going on from a threat intel perspective. So there's the raffle. I'm sorry. Jesus. Thanks so much, everybody. Let's do the raffle. My bad. Okay. So here we go. First one. Here we go. Congratulations. This is for the GRC Analyst Master Class. First one is Liang Zug. Congratulations, Liang. Let's roll another one. Here, let me hold on. I got to make sure that I could see this. Did I'm doing the raffle right now. Hold on. Okay, so Liang Zug is the first one. John S. subscribed since June 5th, 2021. So John S. Congratulations, John, on that. Pretty cool avatar looking thing too. That looks like it's Deadpool maybe. The next one is K. Scott Powell. K. Scott Powell, winner of the GRC Analyst Master Class. And our final winner today, compliments of Barricade Cyber Solutions, is Jeff SM3, subbed on June 17th. So just 3 days ago, and already winning GRC Analyst Master Class. So the 4 winners for today's raffle, connect with me on Discord. You can just do !Discord in chat right now, and you'll get a link if you're not already on the Discord server. And you can connect with me or with Eric, and we will get you what you need in order to take advantage of that GRC Analyst Masterclass. Thank you for reminding me about the raffle. Thank you to all for being here today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Happy Monday, and we will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for the Tuesday Cybersecurity Threat Briefing. Take care, everybody.